Pokemon Sword and Shield came out nearly 4 years ago now, and since we saw 3 main series Pokemon games release with varying degrees of online content since then, and now that Scarlet and Violet have been out for a little while, let's revisit Pokemon Sword and Shield and see what it's like to play these games online in 2023. If you're still playing these games, let me know in the comments down below. Now, Sword and Shield have more online features than the 3DS Pokemon games, but one staple when it comes to playing Pokemon games online are the mystery gifts. These are great to get event Pokemon or items online, and of course, there's not any of them going on for Sword and Shield right now, so I don't know what I expected when I checked this. We can check out the online competitions though, and I apparently had some unclaimed rewards from Season 5, which was like 2 years ago. I guess that's the last time I played this game online for battling, and they had different seasons with different rules and themes every so often. And now that we moved on to a new generation for Pokemon battling, it's fitting that there's no more new competitions. You can at least do online ranked battles though to improve your rank, which also had seasons that reset every once in a while. But the current season started in November of 2022, right before Scarlet and Violet released, and runs all the way up until 2099. That should be plenty of time to rank up with your best team. Now, I personally didn't battle too much on Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I do have some rental teams left over, and finding a single battle in the rank section only took a few seconds. I then tried to find a ranked doubles battle after, which I thought would be more popular as it's basically the VGC format of this game, but we weren't able to find anybody on my first try. I then tried again, and after about 30 seconds or so we found a match, which isn't too bad, and this person's team was just the 4 Galarian fossil Pokemon, which is quite the team alright. I do have to say though, doing the few battles that I did online in Sword and Shield right now for this video was a lot of fun. I never really played Sword and Shield online that much. I did a little bit at the start, and as somebody who used to be super into competitive Pokemon battling, and it's a big reason why I started even watching Pokemon videos on YouTube, it was fun to see, and it was also nice to see the Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon again, as now we moved on to terrestrializing Pokemon, which is still cool, but not quite the same. I know Dynamax Pokemon got clowned on for basically just being big Pokemon, but it would be cool to see it return one day in a future game, or to see older gimmicks return like Z-moves or Mega Evolution. If ranked battles weren't your thing and you just wanted to have a casual battles, there is a casual battling section, appropriately called Casual Battles, which have more relaxed rules and usually just have people that bring teams of all legendary or all shiny Pokemon that are definitely legit. We found someone very quickly again, but this time it looks like this person was just using their in-game team that they have while going through Pokemon Sword and Shield normally. And looking at their team, I would guess that they're towards the end of the game and just wanted to try out an online battle. Despite the small hiccup with finding a ranked double battle that we had earlier, the battling scene on Pokemon Sword and Shield still seems pretty active. I would have thought that the more hardcore players that focus on VGC would have switched over to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet by now, with a lot of the casual battlers following suit or just spending their time battling online in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, or not battling online in Pokemon Legends Arceus, since there's a lot of ways to play Pokemon on the Switch nowadays. It does still feel weird saying that there have been 3 mainline Pokemon games to be released since Pokemon Sword and Shield came out in 2019, and it feels like just yesterday people were freaking out about the trees in this game. Speaking of trees, we can see a lot of trees in the wild area, and if we connect online while in the wild area, we can also see other players running around. This was pretty neat to make the wild area feel a bit more lively and laggier, and it doesn't look like there's that many people here. I remember constantly seeing people ride around on their bikes in Pokemon Sword and Shield in the wild area when they were newer games, but it's still surprising to see how little activity there is here in the wild area compared to how active the online battles were. I was lucky enough to find a 5-star Grimmsnarl raid in the wild area though, and then I remembered you can open up these raids to random people online so they can come and join to help out. I ended up finding 2 people in only about 30 seconds and then filled up with a 4th shortly after. Even though this was one of the more desirable raid Pokemon, I was still surprised to see how quickly we filled up with an online raid. This feature does also exist in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, so it's not like people are just going back to this game just for raids. Now, in terms of the DLC for Sword and Shield, they added Dynamax Adventures, which are a small series of raids leading up to a legendary Pokemon that you can also capture and battle online with friends or random people. I thought this would be less active than regular raids because it's a part of the DLC for Sword and Shield, but we filled up just as fast, if not faster, than when I was trying to find a regular raid. We did end up disconnecting though, but at least in this game, if you disconnect, the game lets you continue on with NPCs so you can finish out the Dynamax adventure. After that, I tried joining in other people's raids, which is a bit tricky to do since you have to get lucky with seeing them on the side of the Ycom. But right after I found one, 2 other people joined immediately and then we started in a Dreadnought raid. You can also do this in Scarlet and Violet, but I feel like whenever I try to do it in Scarlet and Violet, I always disconnect or join too late and the game doesn't let me join. While in this game, it was a lot more seamless. And now we can look at the online trading in Sword and Shield. Whenever I make a video like this, going back to older Pokemon games and playing them online, the trading part is always what people are most interested in, as they often give us some of the weirdest results, especially with the Generation 6 games. Speaking of which, if you want to see more videos like this where we go back and look at older Pokemon games, or just want to see more Pokemon videos from me in general, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on those videos, and also consider leaving a like if you want to support the channel. So for the trades, first I did a random link trade with no set code. We found someone almost immediately after that. They offered up a Gyarados to trade and didn't want to trade it for my Duraludon, which I thought was a fair trade. But when I offered up a Sharpedo, they accepted instantly. Maybe this person just really liked Sharpedo. I tried another link trade after that, and this time we have somebody offering up a Heatran. I figured they'd at least want a legendary Pokemon back, so I offered up a Reshiram, which they accepted right away. Did I get ripped off here? I'm not sure, let me know in the comments down below if I did, but at least I had a spare Reshiram to give this person. Now for Wonder Trades, or rather Surprise Trades as they're called in this game, I just offer up this dollar that I had, and the first Pokemon we get back is a Clobbopus in return. There's no GTS in this game, so we can't search up for specific Pokemon, so I surprise trade a few more times and don't really get anything too interesting. At least I didn't get spammed with too many early route Pokemon and had some variety though. On older Pokemon games, when I did this in previous years, it was pretty common to get some legendary Pokemon or shiny Pokemon, but it doesn't look like that's the case for Pokemon Sword and Shield right now. Maybe next year, I don't know. There is another online feature that Pokemon Sword and Shield have, which I don't think I've ever even used, and I feel like most people watching this video probably never even used either. You can trade League cards, which don't really serve much of a purpose, and it took me a while when I tried to find searching for somebody. We eventually found somebody after a little bit over a minute of searching, and I don't know why it took so long. I don't know if it's because people just aren't playing this game, or because nobody is searching for League cards, because why would you ever want them in the first place? So that's Pokemon Sword and Shield online in 2023. While these games aren't exactly perfect, they're still fun and have a lot to offer when it comes to the online, as it's still very active, more so than I originally thought. If you prefer battling in these games because of the mechanics and Dynamax Pokemon, you shouldn't have a problem finding opponents. And if you really want to go back to Sword and Shield and play some ranked battles, maybe by 2099 you'll hit Master Ball rank even.